Can you remember of any success story of a particular student or a partnership that you could share with us?
Like he was so inspired by the whole UNP as a be taking step in a progressive way, cautious way to ensure that the quality gets better and better. The challenge. So because we are a very our model requires a lot of time, effort, and interaction. So they got people from all across the country, technical, non-technical, everybody to come and establish the township, the organization, the company, and all the stuff.
Yes. So, Amar, tell us something about yourself. Where were you born and where did you grow?
Yeah, that's so I was born in Nagpur, city in central India, and I grew up in a small town, a mining town in the district of Dhanbad, which is now part of Jharkhand. When I was there, it was part of Bihar, and then now it's part of Jharkhand state. And yes, I did my schooling there in Dhanbad up to high school, then my undergrad in Hyderabad, post graduation in IIT Bombay, and thereon, and the journey went on like that. Yeah.
That's really nice. So, what do you think is the importance of early education? And can you tell us about your experience and something about your educational journey?
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's I think that's a very important question. Two things. Number one, certainly that having a very good early start and a good education in your uh, K-12 segment wherever you are, it is very very helpful. And I certainly say I was one of those privileged one to go to one of the best schools, not only of Dhanbad district, but also I would say one of the best schools in India during that time. The school is called 𝐕𝐚𝐣𝐣�it𝐚 School, and it was a Christian Catholic school founded by a Jesuit family, which has a bit of association with United States of America. So, and I can relate it very much because they were not only academically inclined, but also a holistic development was encouraged in my school. I didn't. I certainly used to love it because we had all those infrastructure of good teachers, then extracurricular activities, sports, music, dramatics, good labs, the access to computer science also. So, like I started my computer science learning at fourth grade, which was very very unknown during those days of time. But many of the offices didn't even have computers, and we had computer science in the school. So I now when I'm now in New York and I see this, it's so close to the education system that is here in the United States. When I'm seeing that through my daughter's lenses, she started her primary and now she is elementary and now she is in her middle school. I see how much resembles that they nobly brought from United States education system into our school. So although we were associated with the ICSE board, which is an Indian central board curriculum, but the holistic development or the overall development which was encouraged in our school, one of the most important thing was library and reading was one of the most important aspects of our learning journey. Those are things which were very much inculcated or tried to brought into our education system, and I think those helped a lot. Those were very important for not only from my academic journey, but also as a personality, as a development, overall development of the personality of an individual, me including. And they were certainly wonderful, good days. I would say my best school days, my best memories of my education journey is my K-12 school days of 𝐕𝐚𝐣𝐣𝐡𝐚 School. And the second thing I would say is, and it certainly helps. And I totally agree. Having a good school helps, but not everyone is privileged. So I was lucky. My parents, with whatever minimal resources they had financially and other stuff, they were able to keep education as the top priority for me and my siblings, and they sent us to the best school, and that made a big difference, not only in our academic and professional journey, but also as a personality, what we have grown and what we are today. I can not only say for myself, but also for many of my colleagues, juniors, seniors from the school, they have the same view that the 𝐕𝐚𝐣𝐡𝐚 School made a huge difference. Now, coming to those who do not have access, I would still say that if you're not privileged, no worries. Just hope and try whatever best you can do with the resources that you have been bestowed to. and think about like from that, how can you create something great for yourself and for your future generations. That's what we should always aim for. And as us who are privileged, I think it is a important sense of responsibility that we also um, take care of the others as we grow and we establish ourselves. We do take care of others also, who are less privileged then and even now. I think with that vision, we are growing, and something of some shades of that is you can see in our UNP journey as well.
That is really nice to hear, Amar. The experience that you told, I could relate it with my childhood school experiences and how it was different. Sometimes some things were similar, but few things were a lot more different. So whatever you told and your thought of giving a good education for all and aligning to SDG 4 is a really nice thing. And I wanted to ask if you had any previous experiences in education before UNP. Hello everyone. Today we have Amar Vajjhala, CEO of UNP Education. Amar Vajjhala brings extensive expertise across education, finance, analytics, and entrepreneurship. A mission-driven leader, Amar is known for his ability to develop and launch groundbreaking products using emerging technology and business models that drive impact. UNP Education, co-founded by Amar, is dedicated to promoting accessible, high-quality education and skill development for diverse learners. With a focus on professional courses, B2B training programs, and a unique decentralized model, UNP Education empowers learners with the skills they need to excel in today's competitive landscape. Committed to SDG 4, Quality Education for All, UNP Education aims to bridge the gap between education and meaningful employment. Today, we will be having a session with Amar Vajjhala and knowing a lot more about his experiences and how he is a person what he is today. So let's start.
Yeah, thank
So
you, Amrita. Thank you for having me and for the wonderful introduction.
yes. So Amar, tell us something about yourself. Where were you born and where did you grow?
Yeah, that's so I was born in Nagpur, city in central India, and I grew up in a small town, a mining town in the district of Dhanbad, which is now part of Jharkhand. When I was there, it was part of Bihar, and then now it's part of Jharkhand state. And yes, I did my schooling there in Dhanbad up to high school, then my undergrad in Hyderabad, post graduation in IIT Bombay, and thereon, and the journey went on like that. Yeah.
That's really nice. So what do you think is the importance of early education and can you tell us about your experience and something about your educational journey?
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's I think that's a very important question. Two things. Number one, certainly that having a very good early start and a good education in your uh, K-12 segment, wherever you are, it is very, very helpful. And I certainly say I was one of those privileged one to go to one of the best schools, not only of Dhanbad district, but also I would say one of the best schools in India during that time. The school is called Inobli School, and it was a Christian Catholic school founded by Jesuit family, which has a bit of association with United States of America. So, and I can relate it very much because they were not only academically inclined, but also a holistic development was encouraged in my school. I didn't. I certainly used to love it because we had all those infrastructure of good teachers, then extracurricular activities, sports, music, dramatics, good labs, early access to computer science also. So like I started my computer science learning at fourth grade, which was very unknown during those days of time. But many of the offices didn't even have computers, and we had computer science in the school. So I now when I'm now in New York and I see this. it's so close to the education system that is here in the United States. When I'm seeing that through my daughter's lenses, she started her primary and now she is elementary and now she is in her middle school. I see how much resembles that they nobly brought from United States education system into our school. So although we were associated with the ICSE board, which is an Indian central board curriculum, but the holistic development or the overall development which was encouraged in our school, one of the most important thing was library and reading was one of the most important aspects of our learning journey. Those are things which were very much inculcated or tried to brought into our education system, and I think those helped a lot. Those were very important for not only from my academic journey, but also as a personality, as a development, overall development of the personality of an individual, me including. And they were certainly wonderful, good days. I would say my best school days, my best memories of my education journey is my K-12 school days of the Nobly School. And the second thing I would say is, and it certainly helps. And I totally agree. Having a good school helps, but not everyone is privileged. So I was lucky. My parents, with whatever minimal resources they had financially and other stuff, they were able to keep education as the top priority for me and my siblings, and they sent us to the best school, and that made a big difference, not only in our academic and professional journey, but also as a personality, what we have grown and what we are today. I can not only say for myself, but also for many of my colleagues, juniors, seniors from the school, they have the same view that the Dinoli school made a huge difference. Now, coming to those who do not have access, I would still say that if you're not privileged, no worries. Just hope and try whatever best you can do with the resources that you have been bestowed to, and think about, like, from that, how can you create something great for yourself and for your future generations. That's what we should always aim for. And as us who are privileged, I think it is a important sense of responsibility that we also um, take care of the others as we grow and we establish ourselves. We do take care of others also, who are less privileged then and even now. I think with that vision, we are growing, and something of some shades of that is you can see in our UNP journey as well.
That is really nice to hear, Amar. The experience that you told, I could relate it with my childhood school experiences and how it was different. Sometimes some things were similar, but few things were a lot more different. So whatever you told and your thought of giving a good education for all and aligning to SDG 4 is a really nice thing. And I wanted to ask if you had any previous experiences in education before UNB.
Yeah, as I said, like, education was a very important aspect of our home. So, like, early stage, like, I was very much interested in computers. I really liked that subject. Again, the way that it was taught to us in a very fun way at the beginning, because I remember we started with a language called Logo, which was more of like fun drawing stuff. So you have to, it will give you like analytical thinking into while you are drawing smart stuff using that language. Since I was interested in arts also, so doing it on a computer, the same thing with a programming language made it much more fun for me. So learning computer science became very easy because A, it was taught in a fun way, and B, it was related to something which I liked, which was arts. So I used to love drawing, and that was a good beginning for me. So I really enjoyed that. That created interest in the subject. It was difficult for others. For some reason, it was difficult for many of my friends, my colleagues, my juniors. So I would often help them in understanding the programming language. How do you do coding? How do you do understand computer science? So that was the initial journey of sharing some of your knowledge with others around. My sister was one of the big influence. She used to teach many of our neighbor student friends and all others because she was always wanted to become a teacher. So she just out of like that that practice of teaching and the whole process of teaching she enjoyed. As a student herself, she would love teaching many of her neighbor friends and juniors. And that's what the interest of teaching was. A bit of teaching or inclination towards education was there. Then I think the big push came when I moved to Hyderabad to do my undergrad. And there I saw the big picture, because Dhanbad, as the place where I grew up, is one of the best school districts for education. We have wonderful K-12 schools, high schools, and elementary schools. Um, uh, so many students, when you come out from there, when you are there, you feel that, oh, all school systems across the world or the country are good. But it's not like that. When I came to Hyderabad and really saw that in cities it's so cramped and it's not easy to get such lavish big school infrastructure where you have sports grounds and other extracurricular or space to have those type of libraries and labs. I really saw when I was living with my cousin, there were many students coming from rural parts of outskirts of Hyderabad and city in the state of Andhra, coming to Hyderabad to do the graduation. And my cousin, who himself was a principal of a very reputed school, a boarding school in Andhra Pradesh, he had quit his job and come to Hyderabad to start his own organization. So that's when we both were got together, and when he started his organization, I was pretty much part of the founding team, and with him, the building up this whole communication skills. So his focus was, when students come from vernacular backgrounds, they really face this challenge of English as a very challenging, as a big obstacle for them to learn these things. So Hyderabad was picking up as a big IT hub. Many students out of that attractive career opportunity from rural parts of Andhra Pradesh and many places across India, they were coming to Hyderabad to do their undergrad there, so that they can land a good job in IT. But the challenge was English as a language, because in IT, you really need English as a language to be able to communicate, uh, crack interviews, and do well in the jobs. So when he set up this organization, it's called Venkat Institute of Skills Training, which is now called as HIMS, Hyderabad Institute of Management Studies. So we started with two programs. One was on communication skills, and one was leadership training. So we also thought that not just communication, but other aspects of leadership, that time management and other aspects should also be trained to all these students who are coming to Hyderabad to learn technical programs and have a career. So that's where it started. And I really saw that whole passion of building something in education was that, I would say, the my first big push in this space. And I had a great time with my cousin. He's one of the biggest inspiration in my life. And we did a lot of stuff there. Like I used to like counsel students. So I was not very good at Telugu. I could barely speak Telugu very fluently because of I grew up in a different part of country, but I understood it because it's my mother tongue. So I understand Telugu very well, but speaking was pretty limited to what we could man. I could barely manage. But with that skill also, I was much able to. But because of my command over English, I think I was able to impress most of the students who were coming for counseling to know whether they should do the course or not, or to learn about the program, because we were among the first few institutes in Hyderabad that time which were offering such type of courses. So it really kicked off very well. It flew and it did very well, and we had multiple branches in the city of Hyderabad, and it was a wonderful experience. So after my college, I used to go there, spend a couple of hours every day counseling students, working with my cousin to create the content and the programs and other stuff. And that's how that was my first big journey. And then that really gave me that purpose of understand the purpose of helping and education and how impact it can bring. And we could really see that impact, that the students who came from absolutely zero background, or I would say very uh, uh, alien to English language, and how they graduated after a few months, bit more confident, I would say, and be able to make a career out of for themselves. So I think it was a very enriching and satisfying experience, and that really pushed me to take this wherever I do, wherever I'll be. So the next came when I went to IIT Bombay, and that's where I had the same problem, because our program was one of the most competitive programs of master's program, which required a strong knowledge in mathematics, statistics, and computer science, all three of them. So, and not many, most of the students were either from maths or stats or computer science background. So the math stats student would often struggle with computer science. A computer science student would often struggle with mathematics, and those type of challenges were there. So I, along with few of my colleagues, we started a small initiative called Sankalp, where we decided that, okay, if I'm good at one of them, I'll try to share that knowledge with others. That's where I, Saptarshi, Sumit, Akushla, Sunil, and many of our colleagues, like they pitched in whatever topics they knew, they would come and guide, help others. So in the evenings, we used to all get together in the department again. Most of the time, it was after dinner. We'd come back to the department, and then we would teach whatever topic we knew. So I used to teach computer science to my rest of the colleagues, and that was the other big thing that we saw was very helpful, and that helped many students learn the other subject which they were not very confident when they joined the institute. So it was again a very effective initiative, and from there on, then after that, went to the industry as an investment banking. And there also, wherever there was an opportunity for me to share whatever I knew, I started with Bloomberg sessions because I used to do a lot of data related stuff because I was doing quantitative work. So I used to download a lot of data from Bloomberg as a tool to get financial data. So I had access to Bloomberg on my desk, so I was able to train that to help many of my colleagues there. Slowly it started, and then for more financial topics, we started creating these groups for training and teaching each other. So whatever topic someone was equities, fixed income, they would come and train others on those topics. So this continued. It became a part of my uh, continue, whether it is education or professional journey. I think education was always somewhere in small or big way was part of it throughout my academic and professional journey.
That's very nice, Amar. So you told us about your experiences from school to college to work, and everywhere I see is you have been teaching. So at every stage of your life, you have been teaching and helping others. So I wanted to know how and when did this idea of UNP education originate?
So UNP was actually I and Saptarshi, my batchmate, we are always in touch. So constant touch about doing something parallelly. Uh, uh, and Saptarshi, of course, we both were investment banking in Bombay. He was in Morgan Stanley and I was in Lehman Brothers. So we were in regular touch. We were meeting even after IIT. We were meeting. But after that, after 2 years, he went to Europe for his PhD. And so there for a few years, we were not that much in regular touch. But whenever he used to come to India, we used to meet. We used to talk generally about what's happening. I would say what thing we are doing. So I used to go out for recruitment a lot for my team and then eventually for global markets division. My experiences of what students' knowledge they have and versus what is needed in industry. And not only looking from the good institute, also thinking about those institutes where they were enough they absolutely were completely out of touch with the real industry knowledge or skills that's required. So we were constantly talking, and it was nothing that concrete plan or so that when Satoshi came back from Europe and started working in India, and he was in Bangalore, and then that's where we started meeting more often and regularly. So somewhere around 2015, 16, that's where we had started, thinking that okay, let's do something. And when I was moving to US, that's where we formally had a meeting, and then we decided, okay, let's go ahead and do something in this space. And that's where the whole idea started. And then we picked up like what is the niche area? So what should we do differently? So we had not thought much about it because no one had any experience or formal education in the education sector. No one had a degree in education or something. So it was purely from our personal experiences, which actually is very different from when you get into full-time teaching. We have to learn a lot of pedagogy, and that's again a different skill that you need to acquire. I think we acquired gradually. It didn't happen on day one that we were excellent in that part of things because earlier what we were doing is we were trying to cater to uh, our friends. Say, they are pretty much of our pedigree and sort of skills and backgrounds. Or, for that matter, even the English one we were talking to, we almost knew that the entire background was students who were from vernacular background when I started working with my cousin in Hyderabad. So the demographic student was not, it was more or less homogeneous. But when we started UNP, first thing we decided is what area we want to start. That was, we thought analytics is one of the key areas because it was picking up, and we really saw that many colleges they didn't have those right skill or right teachers to be able to train the students. And we believe that at that point of time that analytics is the future. Like everybody, just like coding, will need to learn analytics. So we thought this is one area, niche area where we'll focus on and try to establish ourselves and gradually learn and grow. That's how it started. And then we, as I said, like pedagogy learning and all happened gradually. So we did some mistakes, we learned from it, and then we changed. We were researching, we were reading, and what is the best way to teach and all the stuff. And with my experiences here in the US also, when I came to US and I was looking at things in the college and in the K-12 segment, also shape your way of thinking and in a different way. And that's how it started. So the whole idea was we wanted to do something, and education is one area which brought me, Satoshi, and many of our friends together. So we thought, how about professionals coming and sharing their knowledge with others? So that's why I call UNP, United Network of Professionals, where prof- professionals can continue their work, and then in the free time, they can spare some time and they can work. So it was more of a part-time thing for a few years, first few years, and then I would say more. We started taking it more and more. We polished it. As I said, we learned during the journey, and then around 2019 is when we sat together and said, okay, what were the learnings from these few years of that we have been into, and how we want to change completely. So that's where we completely transformed the company into a different direction, in a different way, different pedagogy, and then we took off from there.
That is really, really nice, Amar. So I wanted to ask, how do you see UNP education contributing to the future of education, like particularly in data science and business analytics space?
Yeah, so the we have been doing pretty good. As I said, like into 2019 onwards, we really put together a lot of things from our past experiences, from my own experiences, here in the US, and what new things wanted to change. So first of all, things what we did was made it very practical. So we made it more project-based learning, which was there before also, but we had a different approach at that point of time. But then we took it much more concrete. We said each and every course will be project-based. There will be no course where there will be no project. So students will basically learn by doing. And apart from that, we also included things like presentation skills. So we know that you learn things, but you also need to be able to talk. So this thought process came from my experience in Hyderabad, where we didn't not only taught spoken English or communication skills, but also the leadership training or the personality development side also was added to it. So same thing we inculcated here also. So we will teach them the content. We'll make them students do hands-on practice on real-time industry-related type of project, but also we introduced things called presentation skills, where we spend a lot of time where students learn how to also present those work to their, say, in the college or in an interview or all those things. And then gradually we had other stuff also. So in a way, I would say, and our primary model is B2B. So we work with colleges and corporates, and we try to help those who need these type of skills for their future. So what I see is like uh, this has been a very effective program. The way we deliver things have been very effective. I would say 90% on average. So most of the classes, 100% students do the projects, and then only they get a certificate. Otherwise, they don't get a certificate. So we have consistently been like at 100 at most of the batches. In some batches, of course, there are some 10, 20% where we see a sudden, because of personal reason or something, they are not able to. But nevertheless, 90% plus on average is a very good, I would say, success ratio. And we are pretty happy with that. And this is something we think is very effective and would want the future of of this or any other program be like this. So, of course, your question said like, data analytics is very, very important. Everybody should know it, irrespective of whatever background it is. I teach HR to, analytics to HR students here in New York University. So I know it's equally important for HR as much it is for finance or for marketing or any other business domain. But this is core and certainly very good. And I think this model of whole project-based learning with presentation skills, and I didn't touch upon a couple of other things like peer-to-peer learning. So we have things called peer-to-peer learning also as a very important part of our offerings, where students learn from each other And we also have a thing for the futuristic, like how to keep them make them lifelong learners. So we also have those part things also in our pedagogy where students are asked to research on a topic, come and present to the others in the class. That helps them in the continuous learning. So it's not just what they have learned from us. In today's world, we are in an era of lifelong learning. So we also want to prepare them for that. So we are also, within the whole cohort and classes that we do, we have these four key pillars. One is the project-based learning, presentation skills, peer-to-peer learning, and lifelong learning. These are the four models which we take, whether it is for students or even when we do faculty training, development training, and we do corporate training. We try to incorporate these four key principles in all of our courses. And this, I believe, is something which we want to continue and take it further and even help others try to be able to implement these things in their processes.
Yes, Amar. The four key points that you mentioned is really crucial for every learner to have. So, can you remember of any success story of a particular student or a partnership that you could share with us?
Yeah, there are many. In fact, not one. There are many, but one is very special that I would say. We also have students from Africa, and they don't have curriculum. Many universities, colleges, they don't even have curriculum in data science, machine learning. So one of our students, 𝐤𝐳𝐤𝐢𝐧𝐰, he was one of our machine learning and data science and machine learning course student, and he was like absolutely nothing. He learned completely like from Python programming to understanding data science, then implementing machine learning and doing projects and presentation. It certainly helped him, and then he went on to do his engineering project in machine learning, which was a big success. So that's sometimes those type of things where someone who had absolutely no background, who have no means to learn those things in the local colleges, and it is inspiring. I had no idea when I met a couple of students, then they told me that they have no such program of data science in their entire college. So he come from an engineering and was able to learn this and be able to do a good project. But more importantly, biggest inspiration to me is like he was so inspired by the whole UNP as a organization. He has started his own similar something organization called GoPro in his community, where he's doing the same thing, trying to help other students teach them. So we have now partnered with him to support him in his journey in whatever way we can do. So he can, we have told him like what are programs he want to do. We will help them. We'll partner with them. We can teach a couple of modules. He can contribute to some and bring local teachers to be part with us. So that is the journey where one student not only learned, did very well, but has also decided to go back and give back to the society and take this inspiration from UNP. I think that is one of the best I would experiences or stories that we have. And that's the reason why we also, when he approached me that he wanted to do something like this and take it, we were very happy to be part of and collaborate and take this journey forward and help him build something like UNP in his local community as well.
That is really inspiring, Amar. So, as you told, partnerships and collaborations do play a very important role. And what role do partnerships with colleges and corporates play in UNP's business model? And how do you plan to expand these collaborations?
Yeah, these are very important because see, when we do work with colleges, we do two things. We not only train students, but also train the faculties. So we always say like we don't want to be in the college for long. We just want to make the college self-sufficient. So in 3 years, 4 years time, we want the faculty to be so well trained that they can manage these courses on their own. So that's one of the big things. So it's like we can probably train 1,000 students of a particular college every year, but how about we if we train the entire faculty? Themselves can then be able to train so many other students as well. So that is one of the very big things that we do and we like about it is working with faculties and training them also. And the faculty trainings are free, always. We don't they're always welcome to learn. We have in the cohorts with the students as well as in separate cohorts. We have only for training for faculties because that's where we believe that college will become self-sufficient, and then as such we can move on and have other colleges and take care of them. In terms of corporate, the same thing. Most of the corporates are now trying to, even if the employees who are technical skills or marketing skills. They want them to be more data driven, and they are reaching out to us and many other organizations like us, and that is helping them to be able to train their employees in a very data driven approach. And again, same thing. What we have for college, we have the same. They're also the employees. They have to do project. So our courses are not short-term courses. There's like an investment of 6 weeks or so. Uh, in general, like I would say, 40, 50 hours. It can be 3 weeks if it's a daily class, but if it's an alternate, like we have most of the classes are alternate days, so it goes up to 6 to 8 weeks. So that patience and having being able to work with students and eventually be able to graduate by doing a project and presenting it to everybody is something which is very good and effective. And we have been growing. We have been growing. We have been adding more colleges. All the colleges we work, they have been there, with us always. None of them have ever dropped. It's just that we are moving and adding more colleges, more corporates, and we are training them. So again, this is a model which requires a lot of effort. And our goal is effectiveness. Effectiveness is number one. We are not here to in a race to teach 1 million students or become a something which is aiming for that. What you're aiming, if you're aiming is like whether we teach one student or 1 million students tomorrow, all of them should be at the end of it be able to learn and graduate successfully. That effectiveness is key to us. So in terms of expanding, we are not exponentially expanding, but we are taking step by step things and making sure whatever partners we are making, they are very happy and they see that value and effectiveness of partnering and working with us. So that is our core goal. I believe that should never be taken. It's something which I would share with all the entrepreneurs is never leave that effectiveness thing out. Otherwise, uh, you know, like, the clients are smart enough, they may want to eventually they will realize and they will move somewhere else. So if you want to do something, whatever space you're doing, education, finance, or anything that you're doing, make sure that effectiveness is key and it is maintained throughout. So that is what I would highly encourage these companies and everybody to look into.
That is a very important part, effectiveness. And I feel that effectiveness leads to more and more efficiency. So, when you spoke about the organization and how it grew, I'm sure that you would have faced a lot of challenges. And I wanted to ask you, what are the challenges that you have faced in leading UNP, and how have you overcome those challenges?
In terms of challenges, this is ongoing. Like especially in terms of education, there's things are changing very quickly and fast, both in terms of the skills that are required and also education. Why it is very challenging is because there's so many variables involved in it. Uh, at one side there is a teacher and the teacher's knowledge, skills. Then there are type of skills which are required. They are changing very much. Also, the learning habits of students are also changing. So with all these different moving parts involved in education, it is always challenging, and that's why we call it education as the longest running research. We have, for years and years, thousands of years, it has been in work in progress always because things are moving on the ground so fast and so quickly, even more with because of technology now. So certainly those are the challenges. Like initially, as I said, like we none of us had a real academic background in education. We didn't know about pedagogy and all those things. So we only learned from our own experiences. And those were and still are incomplete. I would not say we are like perfect in it, but uh, we have certainly learned a few more things over the years by reading, discussing, and other stuff. But yes, the challenges are always there to understand students, to understand what sort of programs and how they should be delivered. uh, those challenges have always been there. Like initially when we started, I would give you an example is like we used to think like all students are equal. We just need to focus on the content. So we used to be very content heavy programs. Uh, and that may or may not lead to results uh, always because then we are not looking into the diverse students background. So we then gradually started, okay, there should be different type of courses for different type of we now spend a lot of time with students to counsel them and tell them this is where you are in your journey of data science or data analytics learning, and you should start from here. Some students will state you start from stage one. If you like the student, if you think the student already has some basic idea of stage one, then we will probably tell them stage two. So now we spend a lot of time on those things. So this is how we are trying to overcome. Number one is like we trying to do will to counsel and understand where exactly the students are in their journey of learning data analytics, and then be able to suggest the right thing. We, as I said, from content heavy became more project focused. So we realized that teaching good content not always leads to real learning because uh, uh, it ultimately the practical application of it is important. So bombarding them with a lot of stuff instead of doing is now what we try and do is give them very strong, and we have like make different stages of course learning. So different based on their own stage, they can decide, or we can work together on which stage they should start. They get that option, and the second part is uh, having more project-based oriented things. So these are things like we started focusing. Initially, we were not so adamant on the project. So we were more like, okay, we'll teach you everything in data science. You go and do the project, and then we will discuss and all those things. But we realized that no, it should be part of this. And then content, even if we are somewhere like we are 80% of what is needed, but we focus 100% on the project part, it leads to good result. And this just 20%, whatever gap we are left, students can learn on their own because they have mastered this 80% in the through a project, and now the next 20%, even if some gaps are there, they will be able to figure out. And that's why we have these peer-to-peer learning and lifelong learning concepts also involved in our programs. So those are one of the things like on the pedagogy side and all those things where the challenges were there, and we also learn from our mistakes, and then we're able to experiment with different models, and then come to a stage now where we, as I said, like we are much more confident that programs that we are teaching are very effective. Students are learning, and they're going on. They're able to do well in the college. They were even able to do well in the interviews and get jobs. Those are things. One of the things we have, on the challenger side, we have been able to address. The thing is, scaling is a challenge. So because we are a very, our model requires a lot of time, effort, and interaction, both from students and teachers as well. These models have always been very challenging to scale, where we require a lot of human interaction. But thankfully, with technology and all, we are able to. So we last 2 years, 3 years, we have been investing in technology and R&D and other stuff. So we are able to build through our LMS. We are able to make things much more at a pace where students can learn on their own. So they can access the videos, they can watch, and they can learn. They can be much more interactive that way, in an no, in an asynchronous way. And then we are also trying to add some more elements of R&D in the coming months. So that those things we are trying to streamline it. That's one area that as I said, we have never tried to scale things very quickly exponentially. We are going gradually so that we maintain the quality and effectiveness of our programs. Yes, this is again a work in progress. As I said, scaling is something we are trying to tackle it with technology without compromising on the quality and effectiveness.
That is really motivating and inspiring, Amar. So, for an organization, leadership is the most important thing. And what are the key leadership principles that guide your decisions as a CEO?
I think a lot of qualities come again from my childhood because I grew up in a very diverse background, culture background. So the where I grew up in mining town was basically was a forest. So it was a mining area. So before the fossil fuels were discovered, coal, iron ore, and other stuff were discovered. These were primarily forest areas. So they were uninhabited. So they got people from all across the country, technical, non-technical, everybody to come and establish the township, the organization, the company, and all the stuff. Pretty much like we had people from all across. So from the state of Bihar itself, from neighboring UP, Bengal, but also from South. Like my grandparents are from South. So there were people from South, from Maharashtra, from Kerala, Tamil Nadu, all across the country, Punjab. So they were all there who were brought into this small town, and we all lived in a very community. So the very important aspect of leadership was also to be able to respect each other. That is, I think, the number one thing is living in that sort of thing when you have, because a leader alone cannot run an organization. It's always the people associated with it, the employees, the co-workers, co-founders. At the same time, the other side of the business, the teachers, the faculty, the students, with a sense of respect for each other, understanding each other. Because when you're when you know people with diverse background, they will have their own way of how you will deal with them. So one of the aspect is certainly respecting and valuing each other in the organization, and all the partners that we have being. And the second part is, of course, as an individual, as a leader, should be honest to himself or herself of their own things and what they are doing, and then only they will be able to be honest to others. And the second part is always to have a vision. So, once you have, as a leader, you should have a vision and work with a vision that, okay, this is what I want to work with my team and organization, be able to achieve together, and how we can work together. So, that vision you should aim to do at a progressive level. So there, every year you should look back and say, okay, we achieved something higher, higher, higher every year, and that's where you are getting closer to your vision. So there are a couple of things, as I said, like respecting each other is the number one thing, being honest to yourself, and then on a work front, being able to work with a vision and taking everyone along, and making progress every year, every periodic period that you want to look at, and seeing that you are making progress and moving in the right direction. That keeps you steady and going, and you think that, okay, you are getting closer. Even if it is not close, you will always see yourself getting closer and closer towards that goal.
Yes, Amar, that's right. So we can see that you have lived in India as well as you are residing in US, and you have been teaching in India and US. We know that you are working as an instructor at New York University. So what differences do you see in Indian and US education systems?
Yeah, that's as a curious educator and interest someone is interested in education. I try to always compare these two places and look into the positives everywhere and see what are the places of improvement. I think I'll start with the K-12 segment. K-12 segment in India, I think in the US, I think is much gives students a lot of freedom. I'll give you an example, and I say this all the time: is in the elementary school. Elementary is from K to grade 5. Elementary school up to 5th grade, they primarily have two subjects only: maths and English. Apart from arts and music and other things are there, but exams and all will be in two subjects, maths and English. Uh, and maths will be basic mathematics. So it's not like very high bombarding functions or other type of things. They want students to just know basic arithmetics and calculations and all those things. So it's very light and stress free. But English is the interesting part. Like English, they don't have a book. And I can talk primarily from the New York state education system. They don't have any book, so the teacher will, like, first chapter will be, say, suppose a Shakespeare's literature's subject. They will take up for the first module. Module 2 will be like talking about photosynthesis. So they basically incorporated a science topic into the English subject. So while learning the language, the students also are learning about science in English subject itself. The third module would be something around history, like American independence or the Black movement, uh, those type of things. So that history is also incorporated in part of the English. So they don't have separate subjects of English, science, history, and other things, civics. They all have as part of English. So it makes it so easy for them. So it's like a fun. They're learning English, but also at the same time learning about history, about science, about geography, about civics in the same subject. That, I think, is a very good concept. And one very important thing that they encourage here is a reading habit, which was also the part in my school. So as I said, my K-12 school was associated with an American Jesuit organization. So same thing, reading is a very important part here. And reading, I think, gives you two very advantages of reading is one, uh, by becoming voracious readers, students can, they are always reading things about different, they're taking books from library, they're reading, they have to go and talk about that book in the class. So they are learning different things. So reading opens up your mind to so many things in the world, and there's endless. You can read good books and gather knowledge about history, about geography, about civics, about science, or whatever topic, fiction, non-fiction. You can learn whatever you want to. That's opening up your mind and giving you knowledge about various things. But also, reading is a very good habit which comes very handy when you go into research roles. So I believe that that has really helped. So when you look into the research, when you go into high-end research in colleges and schools, you need a very good reading habit. If you have a good reading habit, you'll be able to read a lot of research papers, a lot of books, and all those things, and be able to aid your research work individually. These are two aspects, and I think that's where US has been a very successful. Is one of the areas is the research area. And I think one of the basic foundation is reading as a habit is helps eventually in the research process as well. And whatever you do, you can be a good reader. So many adults also here are very voracious readers. They read a lot, carry the books in the trains, in the buses, and they're reading. And I see many on the vacations also. They carry books. Like I also love to read, so I carry one book for every vacation wherever I go. I try to complete one book during that time. So one of those things I say is the other thing in the K-12 segment is a lot of again project-based learning, which again is happening now in India. I totally agree with that. We need to take it in a bigger way in all the schools, like government schools. So private schools are doing it in India very well, but also at government school, we should be able to bring more applied way of learning because now everyone knows these things. It's very much available. We need to train the teachers for that. So one thing, as I said, two things I would say, keeping the pressure light on kids and encouraging to the habit of reading and be a more applied way of learning. I think somewhere we can reduce the content and let there be some space for students to evolve and try different things. Also, there is a big push on sports here. So there is a good general encouragement for students to learn sports or to learn music. So any musical instrument or singing or whatever towards art and all. So these are also very important from an all-round development, which again I had a good chance to experience it in my school where I got a chance to play a lot of sports, compete in different competitions, even like dramatics. So we were encouraged to do, apart from elocution, a lot of drama, music, band, and other things. So those things actually really shape the personality of students as they grow. And coming to the college, again, I see here college are there are two very good things about colleges here. I would say is we have number one, we have again a very project-based learning approach. So most of the courses are not like exams; they are more like do project, come and present. So I see that many students from whether good, average, they end up learning and they're doing well at the end of it. And the second part is in the colleges there is a lot of sort of a sort of approach of hiring professionals into it. So we call them adjunct faculties, just like I am. So we all have like some work, and in the evenings or on the weekends or in the afternoon, we come and teach based on the availability. So if the professor or the faculty is not available during due time due to his own other work commitment, they can come in the evening and take the classes. So 6 to 9 could be a class in the college or on the weekends. So those two things are very important, very helpful. Back in India, we certainly have some of the very good colleges where we don't have faculties much. I would say certainly a policy to bring in professionals and encouraging them to come and spare their time into just like the model of UNP, United Network for Professionals, where professionals come and share their knowledge. If we can bring that thing into a lot more in our college system, that would help. And a push towards research. I think we that is something which makes a nation stand out versus the others is what sort of research you are producing. That are the areas that we can work very well. We have very good, I think we have very smart students, intelligent students. Something we need to work on the pedagogy and the way we conduct ourselves, our programs in the colleges and universities. They need to be a little bit changed or fine-tuned or reviewed to see the effectiveness both from the students and for universities and for the nation.
Yes, Amar, that is right. So, whatever you spoke about the education system and how it can be changed is very important for both India and US, be it anywhere in the world. And when we come back to UNP education aims to align with SDG 4, that is quality education for all. So, how is the company currently working towards achieving this?
So again, so there are two things. Quality education for all is the two aspects of it. We break it into quality education, and the other aspect is bringing quality education for all. So those both elements are very, very important. So quality education, we believe like is we as I said, we focus on effective education. So how do we bring that effective education? Well, while creating the content, we are trying to create the content with a very applied objective that okay, these they can learn and they can tomorrow go and use that in a work that they're going to join. And that's what many of the students when they come and tell us that yes, whatever we learn, we are actually doing the same things in the company. So, whether they learn data science or they learn, business intelligence or other programs, they say that, sir, exactly these are things. So we are already trained before we go to the organization. We know all these things. So in a way, that's one of the things. The quality part is like effective education. So whatever we teach, be it project based and other stuff, presentation skills, as I said, peer-to-peer learning and lifelong learning, these are very important part of maintaining that quality education part. So that we are doing through pedagogy for all is important because we don't want like again something which we are delivering is only for a few segment of people. It should feel for everybody should be able to afford it, everybody should have access to it. That's why all of our courses are priced so competitive, like everybody can afford it. And the whole philosophy was that it should be less than say like if everyone can afford a smartphone today, our courses should be below that price. So we had tried to maintain that by maintaining that the prices are something which everybody can produce, effectively take, they can afford and they can work on it. So they will be able to access it and they'll be able to gain or benefit from that.
Yes, yes, Amar. So, after COVID 19, online education has started booming and it is evolving day by day. So, how do you think the landscape of online education is changing, and what role do you see UNP education playing in that change?
So education, as I said, is something which is evolving all the time. And there are technologies coming in. As I said, AI is one of the big things, which is certainly very beneficial for most of the institutes like us, uh, uh, for teaching as well as for assessment and all those things. So the future is, of course, the same method of teaching will always be very personalized. I don't think teaching can completely go away from, and it can be totally AI based or machine driven. It will, that personalization will always be there. Again, I come back to that point and very important because the audience is very diverse here. Class of 50 students, all 50 students can be different. The same thing if you look for marketing. So suppose someone is a marketing professional and you're targeting some segment of customers, you see some sort of commonalities. You can bucket them into. You can like basically be able to cluster them into different categories like age group or different genders or different interest. So in a way, you can there is some sort of you can cluster them. But in education, what happens is 50 students means there are 50 different type of categories. So that's where education becomes very, very personalization is very important because you are probably targeting the most diverse audiences that you can have in any business. Personalization will always be there because the teacher will be there always to understand the different requirements of students and be able to. Certainly, technology is able to aid a lot of things for the teachers and for the students, more for the teachers, I would say, be able to create courses, to be able to look into assessment and all those things. But as I said, ultimately, a good teacher, a well-trained teacher, would be the best person to judge and make changes to ensure that all the 50 students in the class at the end are able to learn. That I think the machine will may not be able to achieve that effectiveness. What a good teacher would be able to do. So technology certainly is one thing which we are also working and we are also incorporating in our this thing. But again, that personalization is key part of it, and we will continue with that because that really leads to results. As I said, 90% if on average if students are doing projects, presentations, and they are learning and they are going out confidently. We want to see like where we are bringing in technology. Uh, we want to make sure that that percentage continues to be same or higher. So that is what we will continue, and we will certainly. We are also working on that, bringing in a lot of AI and other technologies into our offerings in a way of pedagogy. And but again, we will be taking step in a progressive way, cautious way to ensure that the quality gets better and better. So if we are here 90%, we want to get 100% with the help of technology and not want to go down below that. That's what our approach is.
That is really great, Amar. And as you said, I definitely agree to the point that AI can never replace a very good teacher. So, also, I wanted to ask you, how do you envision UNP's growth in terms of global outreach and impact on education?
So as I said, like we are pretty good. India, Africa, we are doing quarter partnerships, and we are doing with colleges, corporates, and organizations locally. Um, we are certainly looking at more offerings. Like last year, we started B2C program. We never had B2C programs before. We were only B2B, directly working with colleges and corporates. We launched B2C last year, and now we are able to one course every quarter is something which we are offering to even students outside our partner organizations. So this is one area we will grow. We haven't done much as like we want to take this in a big way in the future. So one of the areas while we continue to grow on the B2B model, B2C is something which we started last year, and we want to take it big in the future. Other programs also we are looking at expanding. So same model of project-based learning in other type of courses outside data science, data analytics area. We're trying to explore those areas. Other things are also looking at K-12 segment. So we are again looking at K-12 segment as some of the skills, and there we won't want to have like a long-term engagement. We only want to work with students. As of now, we are thinking of doing summer vacation, how we can give them some new skills during summer. That program will be very different, very fun, very a different type of approach will be there for kids, where they will learn, but at the same time, something skills which they can use in their daily life as well as in their school and curriculum and for their future. So those are type of things we are looking into right now for our future growth.
That is really nice, Amar. So, are there any new programs, partnerships, or initiatives you're excited to launch in the near future?
Yeah, as I said, like I'm big like K-12 segment is something which is very close to my heart. I really want to. I love working with small kids, like with my daughter, her friends. I want to take the type of things that I have tried to do with my daughter. I want to take those things and bring it to the bigger audience. So that is one thing personally I love. I love this K-12 segment very much, but we haven't been there because of we wanted to grow into start with an area where we see there was a big requirement, like like college students having data skills before they graduate and go into the corporate world. That where we have done, and now we want to look into some things of K-12 segment where we want to really help students. Other thing that we are trying to look is policy making. So we want to work. I now get a chance to work and interact with a lot of government um, leaders, uh, and that's where we are trying to look into some policy making. Some we can help them, guide them, work with them together in this space, and be able to partner with them and establish some good education and assessment policies that we can implement some new programs, assess them, review them, and keep making progress. As I said, like it's a long-term journey. It cannot happen things overnight, but we are something we want to work closely with governments and on the policy side and make progress gradually and eventually achieve like the quality education for all goal that we all are working towards.
Yes, Amar. So, what are your future goals for UNP education, both short term and long term?
Short term, again, long term is very clear. We want to be in the space where we provide quality, effective learning for all. We want to take it to as larger audience as possible. Short term, again, as I said, we want to expand our programs to more students outside our partner colleges. So we want to look into the B2C segment, is which where we are trying to work and focus on. The short term goal will be again to not only like what we did this year is opening up our programs to other students outside our partnership colleges and corporates. So that is one area certainly in the short term we want to grow. And long term, the goal will continue to be same. Whatever we do, B2B, B2C, adult learning, college learning and as well as kids learning. We want to make sure that the quality and effectiveness is there, and we be a strong force in this whole United Nations goal of SDG 4, which is quality education for all, and eventually leading to SDG 8, which is economic growth and employment opportunities for everybody. So this is we'll certainly be keeping our eye always, and be humble and focus on the long term goal and make things step by step, not too many things in a hurry and big. We want to make small, concrete. We want to take small steps, but very concrete and fundamentally strong and effective steps in the direction.
Yes, Amar, that is really very inspiring. And as we come to the end of this session, I would like to ask you one last question. That is, as a CEO, how do you stay motivated and manage the pressure of running a fast growing education company?
I think number one is, of course, the passion. A sense of purpose is there. It's not just passion about education, but making something impact in an area which empowers so many more people. So that certainly is a very big motivator in itself. But apart from that, I try to do other things on a daily, like my yoga every day is a very important thing for me. Playing sports, Sundays are days where we play sports, whatever sports we hit, tennis or golf or whatever. We try to I try to indulge in that. Go out for a lot of hiking and trekking. So do those things a lot with my friends here and with kids and with family. Socializing. So I love meeting our friends. So we usually have get-togethers. Music, singing is something I enjoy with groups. Those things, and as family, we like to travel. So we often go to national parks in US. So we every vacation we try to cover a few national parks in India in US. US I think is the best place for to see parks. So we try to cover as many parks. So that is one thing we try to. So those things, trying to switch off sometimes and do something else that keep you happy, and socializing and meeting people and spending time with outside in nature is something which makes me happy and keep going.
That is really nice, Amar. And we are extremely grateful for the invaluable perspectives that you have provided, from the importance of early education to your thoughtful comparisons between the Indian and US education systems. So, your insights on navigating the challenges of scaling while maintaining the quality of education that we are providing, and that which aligns to the SDG 4 goal, that is quality education for all. And all these things were truly inspiring, and the story of founding UNP Education and your focus on data science and business analytics is very crucial for the areas of future education. And we really appreciate the time you took to answer our questions on partnership, leadership principles, and industry trends. Your emphasis on adapting to new technologies like AI in education shows your commitment to keeping UNP at a cutting edge. So, on behalf of everyone, I extend my sincere gratitude to you at this time for your knowledge and the vision and the time that you took to give this session. So, we look forward to seeing UNP education to grow and make an impact.
Thank you, Amrita. The pleasure is all mine. It was really nice talking to you, and look forward to your success as well. And have a wonderful rest of the day.
Thank you, Amar.